Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. And today we're going to have a discussion about player value and how much the league point schedule impacts player value for fantasy and why you need to know about that. We're also going to do a standard points mock draft on Yahoo, going 10 rounds. We're going to see what kind of team we can get. So check it out. Here we go.
Listen up. It's time for the Fantasy Maverick podcast, starring the guy who's going to help you win that fantasy championship, Jimmy Maverick.
Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about player value. Now, when it comes to player value, that is one of the key things that I look at when I'm analyzing players. And the way I calculate value is very easy. I take their projected stats and I multiply it by the league point schedule, whatever league point schedule you're in. And then I assign a value rank to each player. Now, the thing that I do that makes this work is I exclude the defenses and the quarterbacks from that ranking. Okay, the way they're set up in the app is that the quarterback's draft position is always their value rank. And what that does then is it allows you to compare apples to apples when you're looking at a value rank versus the player's draft position. You know, a platform like Yahoo, one of the things that they do, that they do have a value rank as well. But because they don't exclude quarterbacks from that value rank, well, guess what the top 20 players are? They're all quarterbacks, except for maybe 2 or 3 other players. So when you get into a draft, you can't really compare a draft position against a value to see if that's a good point because they're off by a significant amount. But in my app, you know, the number one player is Christian McCaffrey, and the number one value player is Christian McCaffrey. That's because of his projected stats. He's basically the consensus number one. He's not my number one, but he is the consensus number one. So that really, really helps you out in figuring out, is this player a good choice or a bad choice at this point in the draft? Now, the other thing about value, which a lot of people don't realize, is value can have a significant impact the league point schedule can have a significant impact on the value of a player. And it's a lot more than most people think. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and this one kind of shocks people. But Nick Chubb in standard point leagues is the 14th most valuable player for fantasy. Okay, so Nick Chubb is an outstanding second-round pick in standard point leagues. However, in a PPR league, Nick Chubb's value plunges to 52nd overall. I know that's shocking, but it's because the dude doesn't catch a lot of passes. If he catches 20 passes, it's going to be a lot. Okay, and plus there's Kareem Hunt in that backfield. Kareem Hunt's going to be the pass catching back. Count on that. But because he doesn't catch a lot of passes, then all these players that do catch passes are significantly more valuable in PPR. Now the thing that you need to know about this is that Nick Chubb in both types of drafts is a second round pick. Now in standard points, he's an early second round pick. And in PPR, he's a late second round pick. But that discount in his draft position is not enough to compensate for the loss of value that you are losing by taking him in a PPR league. And you can see that running backs that don't catch a lot of balls are savagely discounted in PPR leagues. Here's another example, Jordan Howard. In a standard league, he's the 66th most valuable player. He's a pretty good choice. But in PPR, 110th. 50 draft positions we're talking here. We're talking 4 rounds of value lost in PPR leagues. But again, his draft position is about the same. Marlon Mack, standard point leagues, value rank 86. So he's like a low-end flex, right? But in PPR, value rank 147th. He's not even fantasy relevant in PPR leagues. Even the king rushing running back, Derrick Henry, takes a value hit going from standard points to PPR. In standard points, he's the 4th most valuable player. In PPR, he's the 10th. So, he doesn't take as much of a hit, though, because his volume is compared to Nick Chubb, probably 50 more carries overall for the season than Nick Chubb. So he doesn't get hurt as much on the PPR value. But again, most people are going to take Derrick Henry as an early first-round pick, probably top 6 in most leagues, including PPR. But you shouldn't. Instead, when you're in PPR, focus on the pass-catching running backs. Kenyon Drake is a favorite of mine, but also Miles Sanders, even Austin Eckler, who I do not like this year. He rates very well in PPR leagues just because of the pass volume. And you've got to draft to the advantage of however your league scores points. That's something that you absolutely need to do. Now, on the flip side, it's just the opposite for wide receivers. And wide receivers get savagely punished in value in standard points leagues. I'm going to give you, here's an example for you here. Devonte Adams. In a PPR league, he is the 9th most valuable player. So he's a perfect first-round pick. He's actually right about optimal for his draft position right now in PPR leagues. However, in a standard league, Devonte Adams' value is 29th overall. Yet he's still a late first-round pick, okay? So this is what's going to put you at a disadvantage is if you spend that first or second-round pick on a wide receiver that gets you terrible value. DeAndre Hopkins in PPR, 13th most valuable player overall. In standard points, 36th, okay? You need to consider this stuff. Here's another big example. Allen Robinson in PPR is the 28th most valuable player overall. But in standard points leagues, he falls to 49th. Even last year's number 1 wide receiver, Michael Thomas, in PPR leagues is the 5th most valuable player. In standard points leagues, he's the 15th. Yet that dude is still going top 6 in both types of drafts. So you don't want to fall into that trap. You can absolutely wait on a wide receiver anyway, just because of how leagues are drafting this year. But that's why I'm not taking any wide receivers until usually the 4th round. That's usually when I'm taking my first wide receiver. It's because, especially in a standard points leagues, man, it's just not worth it. And with tight ends, it's even worse, man. It's even worse. Travis Kelsey. In PPR leagues, he's the 16th most valuable player. So he's ranked very well, very appropriately for his value in PPR leagues. However, in standard points leagues, his value rank is 33rd. Zach Ertz, who is the 49th most valuable player in PPR, is the 75th most valuable player in standard points leagues. And Darren Waller is the 60th most valuable player in PPR and the 84th most valuable player in standard points leagues. So you've got to adjust your strategy to account for this. And also, if you're in a standard point league and you have, let's say you've got, your 2 running backs, 2 running back slots, and you have a flex spot, you should draft so that you are going to run 3 running backs every single week. And so that means you need at least 4 quality running backs. 4 of your first 5 picks should be running backs in standard points leagues to take advantage of that, to make sure you have a strong enough running back core that you can roster enough running backs to fill that flex slot every single week. In PPR leagues, go the opposite, man. I would go for 3 startable wide receivers every single week. And so you would draft heavy on wide receivers. I still like the idea, even in PPR leagues, going heavy on running backs. But when I'm looking at running backs in PPR leagues, man, I want the pass-catching running backs. I did a PPR draft, well, it was last month, but I took Kenyon Drake and Le'Veon Bell as my 2 top running backs. And I did it because both of them are projected to have at least 80 targets. So that's perfect for PPR. That absolutely bolsters their value over those run-first guys like Nick Chubb that someone else took in the early second round. So again, be very aware of that. And when you use my app, you're going to very clearly see this. And I encourage you. You can go in, you can just swap between the league point schedules. You can go from a PPR to a standard points leagues, and you'll see these rankings. And it's not like we've changed their projections. We haven't changed their projections at all. But it's just the way the league scores points is critical to determining the value of those players. So definitely check that out and be aware of that when you are in your draft. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do a mock draft on Yahoo. We're going to do the first 10 rounds, and we're going to do a standard points mock, and we're going to show you the kind of strategy you need to do in a standard point league to draft an optimal team. All right, so stay tuned for that. We're just going to click over to that right now. All right, friends, it's Jimmy Maverick. We are going to be doing a mock draft right now on Yahoo, picking from the 5th draft position, 12-team league. I use my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, to help us pick players, and I want to invite you to go to my website at fantasyfootballmaverick.com. That's where you will find this app. You can try it out for free. In fact, the limited version of the app allows you to utilize it for standard point mock drafts. You can take a look at it, see what you think, and basically, when you go into the app, it's going to ask you 3 questions. It's going to ask you, how does your league score points? We're just going to put standard points. Do you want to engage Jimmy's recommended player filters? I'm going to just say no. We want to see all the players on the board. And then do you want to enter draft mode? We're going to say yes, so we just need to put in the size of our league and our draft position. Go ahead and enter draft mode. And so what you see here, here's the player list. You see the position filters up on top. And what just popped in here, this represents each round of our draft. We're just going to follow this along during the course of this live draft. And we'll click on 1 for the first round. Down below, we got my recommendations, which are just my 3 favorite players, which for the first round, pick 5, include Kenyon Drake, Joe Mixon, and Kenny Golladay. You can see there's Zeke Elliott, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara are all long shots for this round. Of course, if any of them became available, I would take them instead. And Kenyon Drake has these little hands next to him. That means he is a reach for us on this round, which means we can gamble that he will make it to our next round pick. There's basically about a 50-50 shot he would make it to pick number 20, which would be our next pick. So I don't think I want to take Kenyon Drake on this first round. We got Joe Mixon here, and then right below him is Derrick Henry. These guys score very close. Well, these guys are ranked according to their VORC score. So what that stands for is value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. It's these 4 columns right here. Based on how they score on each of these points, each of these columns, they get points. Those points are added up. That gives you your VORC score, and that is how the players are ordered. And what you're looking at here is these are all the players that between our first pick and our second pick. So we're looking at basically all the picks between pick 5 and pick 20 with a little bit of overlap for these long shots and reaches. And so I really like the idea of going with Derrick Henry first. Mixon, although I very much like him, his value is a little bit worse than Henry's, and I just got to go with the volume. What I say is when they're this close in VORC score, that's virtually an equivalent player. You go with your favorite. And also, as far as what players I would consider any player that scores over 40 points. 40 is kind of like my line in the sand. If a player scores 40 VORC points, that's very, very good. It's hard to do, hard to score 40 VORC points. So you focus on the top part of the list. Just ignore these players at the bottom. They're not good choices for this particular draft. So let's just go back here, see what's going on. So the draft is about to start. And I think what we're going to do is, and we are going to liberally use the queue. So again, Derrick Henry I love. But if any of these 3 guys make it to us, we'll take one of them instead. But Henry is a great choice, and we will see what happens here. And we'll see if Alvin Kamara, yes, he did get taken. That's not surprising. So we'll go ahead and we'll take Derrick Henry. I think that's a great choice, especially for standard points leagues. He's extremely valuable in these kind of leagues. So let's go to the next round here. So round 2. It is recommending Kenny Golladay, Todd Gurley, or Aaron Jones. Now, right at the top of the list, you see Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs, both as long shots. Let's go ahead and get those guys on the queue, because if either of them make it to us, I will absolutely take one of them. So let's look at, there's Drake. There's Jacobs. We'll see if, like I said, we'll see if either of them make it to us. But then let's also put Gurley up. Where are you, Gurley? There's Gurley. And I am going to go with running back to start this draft out. In standard points leagues, I want to be in a position where I am starting 3 running backs every week. I got my flex spot too. But let's see here. Below Gurley, we've got Eckler and Jones. Both those guys score over 40 VORK points, so I think they're both considered. So let's go Eckler and Jones as well. We'll put them on the list. There's Eckler, and there's Jones right there. Okay. So, I mean, again, we got a good chance to get a lot. Okay, Drake got taken 14th, so that's not happening here. And but look, Jacobs is still on the board. We'll see if he makes it to us. And again, you just got to kind of take what the board gets you. And look, Miles Sanders is still on the board as well. Actually, oh no, Sanders just got taken. Okay, this guy doesn't take Jacobs. I'm absolutely taking Jacobs. And of course, he's taking his full 30-second allotment of time. Come on. Any day. Of course he got taken. All right, let's go ahead and take our first choice then. We'll go ahead and we'll take Gurley, which is a little bit earlier than I would like to take someone like Gurley. But like I said, it is a standard points list. I'm just going to close that down. Okay, it is a standard points list. So now in the third round, who's it recommending? Chris Carson, Le'Veon Bell, Calvin Ridley. I like those three choices. I think I would take Bell over Carson just because he's not dealing with any injuries right now. So let's go ahead and we'll put him up on the draft board. So let's get Bell. We'll do Carson. And we will do, let's see here, who else? Oh, there's Fournette. See, Gurley was a long shot to make it to us on this round. Okay, and Leonard Fournette. Those are the only ones that score over 40. We've got David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, and James Conner down here, but none of them score enough. So let's put Fournette on as well. There's Fournette. And so you can see that by using the queue, this keeps me informed as to who is still available, who is still on the board. And of course, Eckler, if he were to make it back to us, which I doubt he will, but let's just take a look. You can restore players from a prior round to see how they would score. And what happens is their VORK score increases because the value component of that score gets better as a player is available later and later. So if we restore Eckler scores 57 VORK points this round versus the prior round when he scored 40. Right? So he is definitely a much better choice here, but he does not score as high as Carson or Bell. So he's still, again, he is a good choice. Well, it's a moot point anyway. He's gone, but you can kind of see what I mean there. So it is almost back to us. So let's go ahead. We will take, we're going to go and we're going to take Bell. And, so that's going to start us off. So our roster, 3 running backs, Henry, Gurley, and Bell. Actually, that's an outstanding running back core, especially for a standard points league. That's rock solid. So I'm very happy with that. There's a ton of volume there, and that's really what you want. Now, in the fourth round, we can look to maybe go one more running back because, again, the running backs thin out so quickly. And we'll go ahead and we'll draft Bell. And so let's go to the fourth round, just see who's available for running backs. So David Johnson. Okay, now David Johnson's a long shot, but he is a good choice in the fourth round. So let's definitely put him up. Also, we've got David Montgomery, Melvin Gordon. But again, Gordon, Jonathan Taylor, Mark Ingram, none of those guys score 40 points. So I think we can definitely put David Johnson up. So let's put him up. It feels like I'm going for like a greatest hits album of running backs in the league right now. But we can also look at wide receivers, and I think we do need to look at taking our first wide receiver. Now, we've got some good choices here. We got DK Metcalf, who I have tagged as a breakout. That's what the little fist bump means. We've got Cortland Sutton, who is going to be on a contract year next season, so this is a big critical year for him. And Jonathan Taylor, the running back, who, again, doesn't score 40 VORK points. So I think I'm going to pass on him. But I do like both Sutton and Metcalf. And as far as the value goes, Sutton is a little bit better. These guys are very close in VORC score. So I think I would put Sutton first and Metcalf second. So let's go ahead and find them. Look at, there's still some great wide receivers. Oh my goodness, there's tons of great wide receivers. We're going to put Sutton and we're going to put Metcalf on here. But it's still a ways to my pick. But geez, look here, we got Ridley, McLaurin. Those are two guys that score very well. I mean, again, we can restore them. So Ridley, if he were to make it back to us, Ridley right at the top of the list, man. Right? Okay. And let's see here, who else? Whoop, sorry about that. Ridley and McLaurin. Let's look at McLaurin. Where's McLaurin? He should be on here, actually. There he is. Okay, McLaurin only scores 30 VORC points, so not a great choice here. But you see he's a reach. I'm betting on the next round he's going to be a good choice for us. Of course, his chances of making to the next round are already slim just based on where he is on the draft board. There's also some other guys. We got DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, and again, we can restore them. So Moore, where are you? Moore and Lockett. Okay, Lockett actually I still might be. There's Lockett. Lockett has 23 points, so he's not great. And where is DJ Moore? DJ Moore scores 30. So he, again, not really worth the pick at this point. But let's put Ridley on for sure. All right, so it's almost back to us. And right now, again, David Johnson is still on the board. And so we could go do that. And if we look at the next round, who are the best wide receivers available? So DK Metcalf is a good shot to make it to us on the next round. We could also go back to running back and take Kareem Hunt. I do actually kind of like oh boy. Okay, good. We came back. Oh boy, there are some tempting choices here. So we got to make a decision. We could go David Johnson, and I think we can still get Metcalf on the next pick. So why don't we, if we look at where Metcalf is on the board, and the fact that it's a short, well, it's not so much a short turnaround. It's about 10. You know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Ridley, just because Ridley scores so well at this point. And again, when we were looking at him, Ridley was right at the top of the board. 75 VORC points on this round. Love him as a wide receiver 1. I think he does have that upside, but he's a great high upside play this year. So now we can look at the 5th round. And again, in the 5th round, we could go DK Metcalf. I think that'd be great, actually, to go DK Metcalf as our wide receiver 2. Sutton's a long shot. Kareem Hunt. Let's definitely get Kareem Hunt on the board. So let's go back to running backs. There's Kareem Hunt. Who else is on the board that we can take a look at? So now there's quarterbacks here. So we got Deshaun Watson's on the list, on the recommended list. I always like to be in a 12-team and larger league. I like to be the last person in the league to take a quarterback. We got Jarvis Landry as a reach. So let's put Landry on because Landry's always rock solid wide receiver. Where are you, Landry? There he is. So again, he's a reach, and we could maybe wait and take him with our 6th round pick. I think that would be a good choice. Let's see here. We got Montgomery. Raheem Mostert scores very well, so let's put Mostert on. Running back. Oh, Mostert was already taken. All right, well, too bad. Let's see here. Mostert. And then we're below 40. So, yeah, I think those are good choices. But do you see how I've got, I always have my options right at the top of the list. Look, David Johnson's still on the board. We're only 3 turns away from us. Now, he may or may not make it because looks like he's 2nd on the list right now. Let's see, where is he at? Oh, yeah, he's probably not going to make it to us. But if he does, I'm absolutely taking him as a 5th round pick. If he's gone, I'll probably take Hunt. Metcalf obviously is very nice, but I think we can totally wait for Landry and take Landry as our wide receiver 2, which I think is a rock solid pairing of high upside wide receiver 2s. David Johnson did make it back to us. Okay, well, that's amazing. That's really, really great. So let's go ahead. We'll take David Johnson. And now let's go to the 6th round. So we've already talked about, like, in the 6th round, Jarvis Landry was, he's right at the top. Now, he is a long shot to make it back to us, but who else is it recommending? So Matt Ryan, who is one of my favorite quarterbacks this year. We got Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup, 2 more great wide receivers. So let's go ahead and put them up, Boyd and Gallup. Let's go 2 wide receivers. And there's Boyd. And let's see here, Gallup. Now, Gallup obviously took a little bit of a hit with the addition of CeeDee Lamb, but I think he's still an awesome flex option. I'm not sure I really want him as my 2, but you can see here's Landry and Boyd right here, and Metcalf obviously gone at this point. Kareem Hunt still on the board, so that's interesting. Let's see here. Who else can we consider on this round? So Swift, he was already gone. I know he's already been taken. Boyd, Gallup, okay, and then we're below 40, right? So even Gallup is at 37 points, so he's right below the threshold. So again, he's not a high priority target for me. But again, we've got some good options here. So we just need to wait for it to come back to us. It's still about 7 picks away. 8 picks till our next turn. I'm just going to pause the video, tell we're within 3, and then we'll see where we're at, and we'll see who's still available. All right, so it's almost back to us. Hunt got taken. That's not surprising. He would have been a long shot anyway, but all 3 of our wide receivers are still on the board. Landry is still absolutely my top choice for the 6th round pick. And so it looks like we're going to get him. It's not going to be a problem. Also, looking at quarterbacks, only 2 quarterbacks have come off the board right now. So we do not need to worry about taking like Matt Ryan. Oh, look, one more just came off. So again, even though the app is kind of recommending where you should take Matt Ryan, there's no danger in Matt Ryan being taken before this pick. And you can see Matt Ryan's a long shot for the 7th round, but we might even be able to go later and still get him. Now, who's it recommending in the 7th round? Ronald Jones, Marlon Mack, Carson Wentz. So let's definitely get. I do like Ronald Jones. I'm still all in on him. I don't know why. I'm probably going to regret that, but I just love what that offense is. Oh, I'm not seeing him. Is he already gone? He's already gone. Bummer. Okay. So let's see here. Who else is it recommending? So there's Matt. Well, let's put Matt Ryan on. There. And we can look here. Marlon Mack. Okay, so Marlon Mack is the 3rd one. So let's go Mack. There he is. And look, Boyd is still on. Gallup is still on. So, if Boyd makes it back to us, shoot, I would take that. Ryan is a great choice to take as our quarterback right now as far as quarterbacks go. Okay, so we've had several quarterbacks taken. So if we want him, we would need to take him this round. But I really think we need to get ourselves another wide receiver. Again, I'm okay if I miss on Boyd because I like Stafford. I like Daniel Jones down here. We go on a late round thing. And all these, when you're looking at these quarterbacks, look, they all earn about the same amount of points. The strategic advantage, Josh Allen obviously because he has the rush yards, he's got an advantage. But again, I think we need to go one more wide receiver. I do really like Boyd, so let's go ahead and take him. And now let's go to the 8th round. And so we're just going to go to round 10 on this draft. So we're going to see what kind of team we can build. But this is really a nice team. So let's go for round 8. So it's recommending Kerryon Johnson, Aaron Rodgers, Jamison Crowder. You can see here that Marlon Mack, Matthew Stafford are both long shots for this next pick. We could definitely put Stafford on. Let's go ahead and put Stafford on the board. Right, we'll put him on our queue. And Kerryon Johnson, again, he's high risk. But here's the thing, man. With rookies this year, I am fading rookies like crazy because they're going to be behind where we would normally expect them to be. No preseason, limited training camp workouts. It's these guys are like drinking from a fire hose anyway. And Jamison Crowder, let's put Jamison Crowder on. And I got to say, man, my focus this year for breakouts are second-year players. I love second-year players. I got several marked off as breakouts, like Mecole Hardman's one that we're probably going to try to get in a little bit. Who am I looking for again? Crowder, right? Where is he? Here he is. Jameson Crowder. Okay. Oh, look, there's Sterling Shepard. I like him too. I know he's going to be on the list probably on the next round. So let's go ahead and do that. But while we're waiting for our turn to come back, so let's just review the team real quick. So running backs, I've got Derrick Henry, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, and David Johnson. It's like I've got the best 4 running backs from the prior 4 seasons. That's kind of what it's like here. Okay, for my receivers, I got Calvin Ridley and Jarvis Landry, both rock solid wide receivers. We have not taken a tight end yet. That's something we really need to look at, and that's one thing about in a standard points league, man. Tight ends are just horrendously valued. They are so terrible. Let's take a look at the tight ends right now, and you can see that there's still some good ones. Hayden Hurst, Rob Gronkowski are 2 that I'm kind of targeting that both have top 12 abilities, and I think we might need to take one on this next pick. You can see Hayden Hurst ADP at 100, Gronkowski at 112. But these guys' value just isn't that great, and so we will see here. But the ADP, okay, Hayden Hurst is who I'd really like to have the most, just because I think the upside on him is excellent. But we will see what happens. See, Evan Ingram just got taken. So things are happening here. I think we're definitely going to need to take a tight end. We're going to have to skip on this next round and just grab one of these guys. And it's just that, again, the value of these players like Gronkowski, right? We'd have to take him at pick 92, value rank 122. And it's just because it's the standard points schedule. Tight ends are just not valuable. They're so low volume anyway, right? They basically, the best tight ends get like a wide receiver 2 amount of volume, right? But most of them are like flex or worse. So, again, I'm going to go for the upside here. I'm going to go for Hurst. And actually, I'm surprised that Hurst is still on the board because he should have gone on the last round. But he scored 30 points on round 7. So we can get him on round 8. Let's see here. Is he still available? Did Hurst make it? Hurst did make it to us. So if we restore Hurst, you can see he scores, 34 points. Again, we have to take the hit, but we have to roster it, right? We've got to take our tight end. And so now let's go to the 10th round. Wait, I'm sorry. Are we in the 9th round or the 10th round? We are heading into the 9th round. Okay. So 9th round. So we got our tight end. So we don't need to worry about it anymore. We got our tight end. And let's see here. Is Matt Ryan still on the board? Ryan is still on the board. We could take, if he makes it back to us, shoot, I'll take Ryan in the 9th. I would love that. We'll see if that happens. For the 9th round, it is recommending Phillip Lindsay, Sterling Shepard, who I already put on the list, Daniel Jones, again, my favorite high upside quarterback. So Lindsay and Jones, let's go ahead and put them on. And let's go to running backs. Lindsay. Oh, there he is. He's right there at the top. Lindsay. Quarterbacks will take Jones. We're just queuing him up, right? So look, now there's a good chance Ryan would make it to us. Shoot, let's take Ryan in the 9th. I love that. Oh, that is such a deal, getting him 3 rounds later than we would expect. And again, this just goes to show you don't need to rush on a quarterback. If I didn't get Ryan, I really wouldn't care because I still have Stafford and I still have Jones in my queue. And so we're rocking, man. This team is rocking. So we're going to take one more. Why don't we go, here in the 10th round, let's try to get ourselves one more running back. And we still have many on the queue. So who's still on the queue? Kerryon Johnson's still on the queue. And Lindsay. Lindsay is still on the queue. So those guys would be the best. Let's see here. We could also go Madison and Henderson, Darrell Henderson of the Rams. Both these guys score over 44 points. So let's put Madison and Henderson on the queue here. So let's go running backs. There's Madison. And let's see here. Where is he? Henderson. Oh, I guess he must have been taken. Oh, he was already taken. All right, so Henderson's already gone. But we'll definitely just bolster our running backs. So we ended up with in the first 10 rounds, we got 3 wide receivers. We got our tight end, our quarterback, and then 5 running backs. So that's really good. That's a great allocation to have in your first 10 rounds. We could have passed on Matt Ryan and waited until like the 11th round to take our quarterback. Probably still could have gotten Stafford, but at worst case scenario, Daniel Jones easily would have been available in the 11th, and we could have used that extra pick for another running back. And I always like to just stack up as much as I can on running backs. So Kerryon Johnson. Well, let's go ahead, and since we're in the 10th round, let's restore Kerryon Johnson. And we're going to restore, see, he scores best. And we're going to restore Lindsey. Where's Lindsey? There he is. Lindsey scores even better. So look Lindsey scores over 100 Vork points here. I love that. And I know everybody's all in on Melvin Gordon, but I am not. I am not in on him. Oh, did he already get taken? Shoot, someone took Lindsey. Yeah. I knew we were pushing it anyway. It was a long shot anyway, right? Kerryon Johnson did make it. Let's go ahead and take him. And there you go. So there is our 10 rounds. So I'll be right back. We'll look at these players one more time, analyze them, and see how we did. I think we did pretty good. All right, so let's take a look at this team on my app. And I got to say, I love this team. This is a perfect team for a standard points league, because we've set ourselves up that we're basically going to be starting 3 running backs every single week of this season. We'll start 2 wide receivers. Our wide receiver core is solid. Let's review. So for our running backs, we got Derrick Henry, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, and Kerryon Johnson. Okay, so those were the guys that we got. For our wide receivers, we got Ridley, we got Boyd, and we got Landry. We got Hayden Hurst as our tight end. We got Matt Ryan as our quarterback. And really, everyone here scores very well except for Hayden Hurst. Again, it's just a thing. Standard points leagues, tight ends are crap. They're really bad. So, you got to take that with a grain of salt. But let's look at the reliability rankings here. Look at all the high reliability ranking players we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6. The only one with low reliability is Kerryon Johnson. Again, our 5th wide receiver. So it's not really a concern. 3 at mid. And then you look at our consistency rankings, and we've got basically everyone except for David Johnson scores over 5. So it's consistency is on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is most consistent in their usage, how much they're used in each game, regardless of how the game is going. That's the important thing that I like to look at. All these guys score better than average, and I got 5 players that score a 9 or better on consistency. Look at the outlook. No one less than 3 stars in their outlook. And I got 1, 2, 3, 5 stars, and 1, 2, 3, 4-star players. The rest are 3-star players. If we look over here, we got some contract year players. Calvin Ridley, contract year. Kerryon Johnson, contract year. Bounce back. Matt Ryan, Le'Veon Bell. Upward trend in their usage. Derrick Henry, Tyler Boyd, Matt Ryan, perfect. Breakout player, Hayden Hurst. There's so much good here. I have no injured players, although I do have Landry, who is still recovering, but I've removed the injury designation because he is participating in training camp. We do have Derrick Henry, who is a regression candidate because he had an NFL record-setting season last year. I'm sorry. He had a personal best season on a contract year last year. So there is a regression risk with Derrick Henry, but I'm not worried about it. The volume is outstanding. The value is amazing here. If we sort by value, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players that are in the top 50 value, which again, I only had 4 picks in the top 50, yet I've got 5 players with top 50 value. And then, of course, I've got Landry and Kerryon Johnson, who are right outside the top 50 in value right now. Matt Ryan, of course, an outstanding. I think he's got a top 3 potential for the season, so I really like him. And Tyler Boyd, although not great, again, it's standard points, so he's a little bit depressed. But the fact that he's on a team, he's playing across from A.J. Green, low reliability player, the upside and the ability for him to take on a larger role like he did last year is, again, very much in the realm of possibility. So this is an outstanding team. I love the first 10 picks here. Really just rock solid. This is the kind of team I want to bring in with me to the regular season. And like I said, it's like a greatest hits album of running backs. It's like I got the best running back from last year and from the year before that and from the year before that and from the year before that. I mean, it's like it's kind of crazy that I ended up with those 4, but I'm very happy. So anyway, one more time, if you haven't done so already, please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. This is where you can find the app. And I want you to notice that in that draft, I was not looking at what other players were being taken. I was instead looking at what players I should be targeting in each round. And occasionally, a player would be available that was very desirable for me, and I could restore them onto whatever round I was in and see how they ranked against the other players. And in some cases, they were the best option available. In other places, there was better players that I had to choose from. So I took someone from that round as opposed to someone from a prior round. It really just helps you, gives you that critical draft day information that you need, and it helps you also to ignore the players that you shouldn't be paying attention to because they are terrible choices at that point in the draft. And it could be any number of reasons that they're a terrible choice. They're a poor value. They have terrible consistency. They're not a reliable player. They have a horrible outlook. There's all sorts of different things going on. And so that's why I look at those 4 key stats. I'm trying to weigh them against each other and form a composite score on each player. So, it's easy to find the best players in each round. So thank you for letting me plug that. Please stay tuned. I'm going to do another podcast on Wednesday. And this was a great draft. I'm very happy. So have yourself a great draft season. And if you have any questions at all, please leave a message down below. Likewise, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.